Friday. Hope you guys had an awesome week. So for today's workout stream, we're going to go back to the primary movements. We're going to start out with a tricep of swing, rotation, and carry. I'm going to show you guys a couple different variations that in the previous streams I haven't shown, because it's really good to switch it up. That you don't always have to do progressive overload, which means just raising the weight up to challenge your body. You could just do different variations, and that's more than enough challenge to have like a novel stimulus to keep your body changing. So we're going to start off with carry. And for carry, I'm just going to do a single arm carry. This is referred to as a suitcase carry. So for this, one arm at the side right here, other arm's just out like that. You're just walking about 25 yards. Remember, whichever way that you rotate, just switch it up. So if I rotate or turn to the left, then I'm going to rotate and turn to the right. And after about 2 times back and forth or 12 yards, I'm going to switch arms. So switch the other arm. Remember, when we do our carry, we're isometrically squeezing our entire upper body. And you're basically not letting the weight manipulate any area of your body here. Okay, next up we're going for swing. So kettlebell swing, high and tight between the groin. You're going to explode up using your hips, and that thrusting motion is basically going to allow the weight to swing. Tricep, that's 3 back-to-back exercises with a rotation. So we're going to go really light for this rotation because this is going to be a lift and chop. So going in diagonal, 45 degrees across the body. Now if you notice, make sure my feet are in the chop here, my back foot is going to be pivoting as I go up to the opposite direction and do full extension. You keep the head in line with the weight in the hands. I'll make sure your spine stays nice and neutral during this. And you keep that core really tight. When done correctly, you'll feel it in the abdominal, in the oblique, right here, and right here. So first tricep done. Take a little bit of rest. So just as a refresher, superset is 2 exercises back to back, no rest. A tricep will be 3, and then a giant set will be 4. So we're going to be doing a giant set after we're done with this tricep here. So after you finish the superset, the 2 back to back, that would earn you about 30 to 120 second rest. I use the talk test, so if I feel like I can say a sentence without breathing heavy, that means it's time to go again. So right now I'm not really breathing heavy, so time to do another set. Alright, we're going to go single arm carry again. First set of everything, I usually do a little bit lighter, just as a nice little warm up. Just get your body used to the movement. And then we switch arms. Just trying to keep everything nice and isometrically squeezed. The key for doing a single arm carry is you don't let the weight manipulate the body. variations you could do with the dumbbell if you want to go heavier weight. This only goes up to 40 pounds. Today I'm just going for a little bit higher rep range. So typically speaking, the lighter weight you do, the more reps you really need to get the amount of volume in to like challenge your body. Or the opposite side of that is if you do really heavy weights, then you go less reps. It's all about hitting the bare minimum amount of stimulus that your muscles need in order to change. So that's why it's all relevant. You know, lighter weight, more reps, heavier weight, less reps. I usually like to use something called RPE weight, rating of perceived exertion. 8 out of 10 is usually 80% of your maximal effort. So that can look like anything between 3 to 5 reps left before you fail. And that's generally what I use for myself as well as clients. And it really works nice because it allows you to recover from your workouts. And what data suggests is it all comes down to recovery. So if you beat your body up really bad during your exercise, go to failure all the time like that, and you have a really shitty recovery protocol, you want to basically develop your body as efficiently as someone who's only going about 80% of their maximal effort and not until failure, but they're recovering really, really well. So all things being equal, the person that has a better recovery protocol, as long as they're hitting that bare minimum stimulus, like that 8 out of 10, is going to have better results as far as how the body changes. All right, so we're going to go kettlebell swing now. We're going to go rotation. We're going to go back to our lift and chop. For rotational stuff, you definitely don't need a lot of weight. So keep that in mind. And to preface what I was saying earlier about efficiency as far as how your body develops, I don't want you guys to be misled into thinking that you never want to go to failure. It's not the case. It's all really dependent on your goal and what you're trying to achieve from your body. So that being said, if you're a power lifter, you don't really have the luxury of not really pushing yourself and going to failure all the time, because that's a big proponent of what powerlifting is about, is like really pushing yourself and getting like 1 rep maxes out and stuff like that. So it's all relevant to your goal. But generally speaking, I find like the general populace of people, if you're not like an extreme athlete or you're not going for a specific type of goal like powerlifting, that, you know, if you don't go to failure, the less often you go to failure, like the 8 out of 10 I'm talking about, and you do that more consistent over time, or about the same consistency for both of those styles, the person who does the 8 out of 10 style is just going to have better results more efficiently. Or, more reliably, is going to have better results. All right. So lift and chop, going to diagonal, remember pivoting that back foot, keeping the core braced and tight. You'll feel this in the abdominals and the obliques. I usually go for about 5 to 10 each side. Tricep number 2 done. We're going to go for 1 more for 3 sets today. You can see all my weights fell off. They don't seem to want to go back in. Struggle's real. Oh, that's why. No trip. These are not working. tricep number 2 done. We're gonna go for 3 sets of everything today. So just one more tricep of that. I had some really cool ideas on what to do for some upcoming streams. So it's not just like a bunch of random workouts that I'm doing. I was thinking about a themed workout style. And what I would do is I would give you guys bite-sized pieces of history of like where this style originated from, basically what the style entails, why someone would do this specific type of workout. For example, one of the ones I was thinking about covering was like CrossFit. Where did it originate from? Who created it? Why people do it? And just some various info about it. And while I was presenting that information throughout the live streams, I would be doing that workout throughout the next, week to 4 weeks, however long it took to present that information. And at the end of those, 1 to 4 weeks, I can basically give the pros and cons of what I personally experienced doing this type of exercise or workout style for that given amount of time. So I'm going to be putting up a poll probably today to see what you guys would like to, which workout style you guys would like me to cover first, because there's a ton of them out there, and there's definitely reasons why you should do some versus others. And but I'm a big believer in trying everything. So I myself has pretty much tried every workout style out there. So I would like to kind of give my feedback and kind of just, it'd be kind of cool to learn more about the history and education of said workout styles rather than just knowing the science, which I tend to just know a lot of the science of why people do the style. It'd be cool to know the history and the origins of the various workouts. Alright, so last but not least, we're going to go for this last set of tricep. So we're going to go for carry. My brain's not working today, so if you guys are wondering why I'm blabbing random shit. So single arm carry. Remember, just hold it to the side, we brace the upper body, and you do not let the weight manipulate the body. So isometrically squeezing everything nice and tight. So doing about 12 yards with one arm, and 12 yards with the other. Beep. And we'll go to swing next, so we'll use the same way. Lift and shot. Okay. Tricep number 3 is done. Got some good volume there. So next up, we're going to go for a giant set. That's 4 exercises back to back with no rest. And we're going to do the compound movements. So we're going to start off with doing rows. Then we're going to go deads. Then we're going to go, if I can think, we're going to go a pressing motion. And then, so probably like shoulder press, something like that. And then we're going to go for squats. So it'll be row, deads, press, squat. And these are your 4 compound movements. The reason why they're called compound movements is they're using a lot of muscles. And they're really beneficial when you hit these style of lifts over like accessory style lifts, which are usually just using like 1 to 2 muscle groups. Like if you're doing like a bicep curl that's isolated, you're only getting like you're getting so little muscle engagement, right? Whereas if you're doing something like a row, you're getting a ton of muscle engagement, like you're using all your backs, you're using your arms, and you can even get nice bicep development even from doing rows. So why would you spend a lot of time doing accessory work if you can basically do the same thing and hit other muscle groups at the same time? So there definitely is a place for accessory stuff, especially if you're like into like physique competition, you're really trying to fill out a specific area of your body. But yeah, generally speaking, I think it's really good for most people to just do these big compound lifts and then work in swing, rotation, and carry. And if you do that every single workout, you are solid. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go for rows next. So for rows, we're gonna do the barbell. Just as a warm-up set, I'm going to go with just the bar, just get all nice and warm. Do a couple reps, and then we'll throw some weight on there. So for row, bent over stance, this is kind of like the bottom of a deadlift position for your row. So a little minimum of bending in the knee, and then you're just going to hinge forward your hip and low back. You can see I'm almost at this 90-degree point, head's nice and neutral. You pinch squeeze the shoulder blades, and you row up right to like the top of the rib cage. And the goal is here not how high you can get your elbows, but how you can tuck your elbows into the side once you get up to about 90 degrees and really engage that back. Now I'll throw some weight on there. We'll do some 25s. Going for that RP of 8 today, that 8 out of 10, 80% of maximal effort. Yeah, so for that row right there, I noticed I wasn't able to get full range of motion today. For some reason, each day is going to be, I don't know why I'm saying for some reason. Like I said, my brain's not working today. Sometimes your body's not as efficient and it's not going to be as strong. Today I'm not feeling too strong or efficient. So what we're going to do is we're going to go lighter because I wasn't really able to feel that contraction and that engagement from my back the entire time. So it's about understanding your body, listening to your body, and being humble. Don't be afraid to drop down. I mean, I know I can lift more weight than this usually, especially when I'm at my strongest. But again, it's just taking each workout day by day, listening to your body, and going for like, the most efficient you could be. When I'm doing heavier weight, but I'm only getting maybe like 60% range of motion, that's not as good as going lighter in weight and going full range of motion. So we'll keep in mind for next set. We'll drop down to 10s. We'll go much lighter. Next up, we're gonna go for some deadlifts. Since I'm not feeling too strong today, we'll keep the 25s. Get form over everything. So we're just getting down in this loaded position, not quite a squat, right? We're not coming down to 90 degrees, we're loading those hips up. You're locking this out, squeezing your hammies really tight. Pinch squeezing the shoulder blades, and you're gonna get a nice even grip on the bar. I like to do my pinky grips on the inside circle. It makes sense if you guys are gripping a barbell or a solid barbell. So right here, we load up those hammies, right here. Pinch squeeze the shoulder blades really tight, and rather than yanking, we're just gonna stand straight up with the weight. my knees. Then we just hinge at our hip and low back. Sit back up. Up at the top of this lift, you want to tuck your pelvis and squeeze your glutes without arching your back. So right here, right there. No arching in the back here. So next up we're going to do a press. We're going to go for a shoulder press today. Typically you can do shoulder press, you can do chest press. But yeah, today I'm feeling like doing shoulder press. Alright, so for shoulder press you can do standing or seated. Seated is going to be much more comfortable if you're not used to like bracing your core while standing. It's much harder to do a standing press. But how I like to teach how to get like set for a shoulder press is you want to hammer curl up, just like you would do like a bicep curl. Bicep curl is right here. A hammer curl is just keeping the dumbbell facing up like that. So you'd hammer curl up like this. You push up and you rotate out at 90 degrees. I'll show you guys from this angle. Hammer curl up, keeping the elbow in nice and tight, push up, rotate out like that. And that's how we get set for a shoulder press. So when you're doing a shoulder press, very important to keep your neck tucked in, because you don't want it to jut forward as you're pressing up, and you also don't want your low back to arch. So tuck that chin, engage your core really tight. Coming down at 90 degrees. Done, hold it 90 degrees, bring those elbows in, and you come down like a hammer curl, just like that. Okay, last but not least, we're going to go for a squat, and rather than just messing around with the barbell too much, we're going to go for a dumbbell squat. The variation I'm going to choose to do with this dumbbell is called a goblet squat. So a typical squat with a dumbbell would just be between the legs like so. You'd be going down to 90 degrees, right? Keeping those knees in line or behind the toes. And you come up and squeeze a glute, but a goblet, it's going to be like this. So we want to get underneath this way, like this. And same sort of concept. When you're doing a goblet, your elbows are going to come down and like tap your knees. But again, you're at this 90-degree point, and you squeeze a glute at the top. So right here. So keep in mind when you're doing a squat, you really want to track where your eyes are going, or pay attention to where your eyes are tracking, rather. Because if you're looking forward the whole time as you're doing a squat, what happens is this. You guys can see how my spine is staying like really straight, which can actually, if you're looking forward, start to arch your lower back. But if you allow your head to drop down just to neutral, at about 45 degrees, that's going to correct the spine and make it more neutral. So typically, at the bottom of a squat, you want to be looking about 5 feet or so in front of you at the ground. It's kind of like at this 45-degree angle. And that's really gonna protect your back and avoid like arching your lower back as you're doing your squat. But it's really common, a lot of people do this. When they squat, they look up like that. When they look up, it causes their back to arch and throws their knees forward over their toes. That's gonna mess you up if you do that over a long period of time. And depending on how much weight you have loaded, it can mess you up instantly just after one rep. But very, very important to keep those knees in line or behind the toes, because it's not a knee exercise, right? This is for the glutes, and you're basically hitting all different areas of the glutes. So in order to do that properly and engage the muscle properly, keeping the knees in line or behind the toes, and also those eyes go down to about a 45-degree looking at the ground. All right, so that was giant set number 1. Giant set number 2, we're gonna do rows to start out. We're gonna drop down, because I said earlier that I'm not getting as good at that contraction that I'm wanting for my back. That's a really good tip too, for whatever exercise you're doing during your workouts, is you wanna isometrically squeeze and engage the muscle you're actually hitting. And that's gonna be even more efficient way to develop that muscle, rather than just relaxing it. Like say I'm going through a row, I'm just going through the motions. If I pinch squeeze that back tight and keep it squeezed and isometric the entire time, I'm gonna get so much more out of each rep and each set. So definitely keep that in mind when you're working out. Isometrically engage whatever area you're actually targeting. Come on in, babe. Hey. You're not even in the shot. Come get in the shot.
That's fine. I have to like clean out my car and do all the things.
Okay. I parked it across the street.
Okay. I'm just gonna leave like any back open and
Huh?
open the garage,
Okay.
in and out.
Let's go.
Okay.
Garage is opening. The world isn't ending. It's just the garage opening. Bay's too camera shy still to come and get in the shot. She's so fucking cute. One of these days you guys will see her in the shot. Alright, we're gonna go for rows. So yeah, I was able to get more repetitions out because that RP of 8, as you get lighter in weight, is definitely gonna go more reps. But it felt much better, like the contraction on the back. I felt like I was really engaging it a lot more efficient, and it felt overall just like a better set. So just keep that in mind. Some days you're gonna go lighter to get more of a contraction and good feel out of your set. All right, we're gonna go for deads next. You can definitely go heavier on the deads. So we'll hop up a little bit on the deads. Are you gonna go get your car today? Woo! Are you still set on the same one? Ah, okay. So Cam's gonna go get a new car today. She's gonna get a Subaru, and she's deciding to go with the Outback. I personally got a Legacy. Love the thing. Great on gas. She likes a more higher off the ground car. Totally understand. I actually had a Toyota 4Runner, as one of my first cars, and I love that thing. Just had no get up. It's like a V4, I think. But yeah, it was a great car. What is it, a V4? The Outback? Yeah. I mean, my Legacy is a V4, but that thing gets up. Like, I had an Acura Integra too. That was a V4. Same thing. That thing got up like 0 to 60, 3 seconds flat. But yeah, those sometimes V4s do really well, especially this Legacy that I got. All right, so deads. Remember for that deadlift, we want to load those hamstrings up, pinch squeeze the shoulder blade, and we're just basically standing up with weight. So load those hips, pinch squeeze the shoulder blades nice and tight, and stand straight up. Tucking the pelvis to the top. Next up, we're going to go for a press. And keep in mind, I feel like a lot of people just think they need to keep adding more weight to the bar or adding more weights to dumbbell. That's great for progressive overload, and that does work as far as developing muscle growth. But a lot of recent research is showing you just need a novel stimulus, something different. So rather than always adding more weight, which can really be taxing on your joints and lead to injuries if you're not ready for it, you can just go for a different variation of an exercise. For example, instead of doing a barbell deadlift, you can do a single leg deadlift. And that's enough novel stimulus to where it will maybe not as efficient as progressive overload, but it does serve the same purpose. And you will get a nice response in the body. And that also just helps with mobility, joint stability, when you're doing single arm, single leg stuff. So good to work in those things. Don't always think you have to go heavier for a particular lift. Set the weights to 2 different weights right there. I had one that was 40 and the other one was 20. So make sure if something feels off with your weights to check how much pounds you got each hand, because I've definitely done like a set with one that had 25, the other one had 20. Alright, so remember we do a bicep, not a bicep curl, a hammer curl right here, keeping the elbows in nice and tight. We do a little press up, rotate out at 90 degrees. Going overhead, tucking the chin, core is nice and tight. Woo! All right. Last but not least, we're going to go for a squat, and we're going to do a dumbbell squat again. Actually, no, we're going to do a kettlebell variation of the goblet. Same sort of concept as the dumbbell. Only difference is where you're holding it. The dumbbell you like hold underneath that top weight, and the kettlebell you just hold at the sides like this. So right here, going down 90 degrees, allowing that head nice to drop. At 45, remember looking about 5 feet in front of you with the eyes. number 2 done. So one more, and that'll be all she wrote for today's workout. Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, if you guys didn't catch it, I want to start doing different variations of workout styles, but maybe over the span of like 1 to 4 weeks, cover one particular style, such as like powerlifting or Olympic lifting, CrossFit, anything like that. And then over the span of that week to 4 weeks that I'm doing that style of workout, go through the history and the background of that particular style. So I'm going to be putting up a poll today to see what style people would like me to cover first. And I do know I'm pretty proficient in most of the workout styles in practice, but learning the theory and the history behind each of those practices, that would be something that'd be nice learning material for me. Learning material, can't talk today. Brain's not working. That'd be good learning material for me, as well as I'm sure anyone that's tuning in. So yeah, just be on the lookout for that, and let me know which one you guys would prefer. If there isn't a specific style listed on the poll that I do, feel free to comment with your own style or DM me with a particular style you'd like to see. And whatever gets the most votes, has the most popularity, then I'll go for that one first. All right, so last set of this giant set. We're gonna start with rows. And I'm feeling pretty strong right now. I feel like I'm kind of warmed up. So I'm gonna go for a little bit heavier rows like we started out with. We'll see how it goes. Go to deads next. That felt pretty good. Much better than the first round. Play with those action figures over there.
Hey, man.
Later, sugar. Okay, deads up next. Go a little bit heavier for the deads. Started loading those hips up. Make sure I'm in the shot here. Yeah, I'm in the shot. Loading the hips up, keeping those hips up high, loading the hammies, rather. And squeeze the shoulder blades, lock them out. And we stand on up with the weight. Done with deads there. So just for some context, just getting back into lifting again. I've spent the past year struggling with a lot of health issues. So the strength has definitely suffered over the past year. I lost like 40 pounds, tons of GI issues. Wasn't able to work out, so just getting back into it. Cool thing is your body's super malleable and it adapts really quickly. So I'm already noticing, like I basically started out with like very minimal weight, like just doing the bar and body weight stuff. And this is only my second week back to doing resistance training. And I already feel like I'm getting way stronger. Like I'm already up 90 pounds on my dead. So your body's super malleable. You can go like bottom of the barrel, really unhealthy. I was on the other side of the spectrum. I was like severely underweight and malnourished and stuff because of all the health issues I had. It was an undiagnosed C. diff infection, by the way. I had it for like 6 to 7 months before I finally got it treated. So it just wreaked havoc on my body and my gut. You can actually die from C. diff infections if not taken care of. So yeah, on the rebound, I just love the body's so malleable that you can bounce back really quickly. So yeah, it's just awesome. I love it. All right, next up we're gonna go for shoulder press, and then we'll finish up with some squats. So remember, we hammer curl up, push up, rotate out, 90 degrees. Hold overhead, chin tucked, core tight. In, hammer curl down. Okay, we're gonna finish up a squat. Actually didn't like the feel of the kettlebell, so we're gonna go back to the dumbbell variation. Again, for the dumbbell variation, just gonna want to get underneath it for goblet squats like that. Pretty much hugging it to the chest, like so. As you bend down, allow those eyes and head to drop to 45 degrees. About 5 feet in front of you. That's it. Giant set number 3. Now we're going to do a cool down, just run through the various stretches I like to do. We always start lower and then work our way to upper body. Workout took what, about 40 minutes or so. A lot of talking in between, so realistically you could get a really solid workout in about 25 to 30 minutes. If you minus out all my talking, my ranting, and like if you guys are doing this on your own, definitely 25, 30 minutes, really easy. So I don't understand when people say they don't have the time. Everyone has 25, 30 minutes. And if you don't, you need to get yourself a damn life or chill out a little bit with how hard you're grinding, because that's ridiculous if you can't give yourself 25 or 30 minutes to get a workout in. Take care of your health. Do what you gotta do. All right, so we're gonna start with a calf stretch first. So, pushing back on your heel, and what you're doing is you're leaning into your knee. So for me, my calf isn't too tight today. So if this doesn't do it for you, what you can do is you can find a surface to actually elevate your toe on. So whatever it is, it's a wall, a bar, a chair, anything like that, you just elevate your toe like this, and I'm just gonna slip it This farther. You actually just lean into it like that, keeping your leg nice and straight. This is a really good way to isolate that calf and soleus muscle. And if you're not feeling too tight, or you just want a different leverage point for the stretch, you can do that. So I'm gonna do the same thing other side. Definitely not the most efficient way to stretch your calf, using a rolling barbell with weight on it. But hey, we're out here. We're doing things. Make sure you guys can see this. I think you guys can see the shot. If you guys can't see this, apologize. You're basically just putting your heel on the ground and toe up like that, up on a surface. That's how you're stretching your calf, if the standard way doesn't work. Next thing I like to do is move up to the front of the quad, the rectus femoris. And we just do a single leg balance, essentially like this. If you need extra support, you can feel free to hold on to something. You're not necessarily challenging your balance or stability when you're doing static stretching. One thing that's really important when doing static stretching, especially for cool downs. Sorry about the hammer, there's some construction going on by the way. If you guys can hear that. When doing static stretching, the whole point is to release tension from the body, like release tension from the muscles. So really great post-exercise to do static stretching. Not necessarily before, because you make your muscles really elastic, and that can make them weaker if you're trying to do any sort of weight-based workout. So really only stretch things that are extremely tight before workout, like statically. Otherwise, you want to do some active stretching, arm swings, leg swings, stuff like that. Just get the blood flowing. Static stretching refers to just holding a position for an extended period of time, usually 20-30 seconds, longer if you need it. But a big important component when you static stretch is to breathe. Deep breath in, deep breath out. That component right there will help release tension in your body. I believe if I had to put a percentage on it of how you hold tension in your body, I would say about 50-50 between physiology, like your muscles are actually tight, and then 50% psychology, meaning like you just hold so much stress and tension in your mind. And that, in my experience, if you're really stressed out, you tend to be really tight. So learning how to get that stress out, one of the best ways is breathing techniques. So make sure to just breathe deep in and out during each static stretch. That will help. Next thing we're going to do is inner thigh stretch. So lean into the side here. One side is just like a single leg squat, other leg's nice and straight. You're going to feel a nice stretch in your inner thigh. Put your hands on the hips, hands in front, whatever feels comfy for you. And then another cool thing you can do too, I was actually telling one of my clients this the other day, is you can close your eyes and you can imagine a place that allows you to really be relaxed and calm. And when you pair that with breathing while you static stretch, I feel like it's this amazing combination that allows you to fully release those muscles. It's just amazing what your mind can do as far as like holding all this tension in your body without releasing it. So doing stuff like breathing and some visualizations, it's so huge. All right, next we're going to stretch the hammies out. So for the hammies, I'm not a big proponent of ever like bending over like this and arching your back, because it throws your spine in an unneutral position, and I'm not a big fan of any unneutral position for your spine. So I like to just pinch squeeze my shoulder blades, right? Keep our legs relatively straight, kind of like a deadlift, right? A little bend in your knee. You can even lock out your knee if you want, but I like to put a little bit of bend. It feels like I get more of a stretch for me. And you can play around with those two things. And then I actually reach between my legs like this. If you guys aren't feeling a hamstring stretch in this sort of fashion, feel free to stretch out or straighten out the legs, keeping the spine neutral, and then again, reaching through the legs. Either one of those variations, you should feel a stretch in the hammy. If not, there is another variation where you can elevate the foot like this on a surface, such as this, and whichever foot is up right here, or whichever leg rather is up right here, this would be my right leg. Put your hands together and you rotate to the right side. And in that fashion right there, if the other two stretches or variations for the hamstring didn't work, that one should. And if none of those you're not feeling a good stretch in your hammies,
chances are your hamstrings are very tight, which is a very good news. And you probably need to be doing more deadlifts. Okay, last but not least, we're gonna hit the outer thigh, or the outer quad, which is gonna be the TFL IT band area. How we do that, do a split stance, set your knee over your ankle here. Let's see. I'm just blinded by all the light coming in from outside, so try to see what I can see in the shot here. I believe you guys can see this, it looks like you can. Split stance, knee over this ankle here. Back toe, you can be at like a 45-degree or just keep it straight. Tall back, core is tight, and instead of leaning into our knee, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our pelvis, we're really tucking like this. So tucking your pelvis like that, boom, and down. So it's like you're pushing your hips like down and then a little bit forward. You're not arching your back. So straight spine here. And when done properly, you should feel a stretch like up here in the TFL area. It's at the side of the hip. And then another thing you can do in this position too is whatever leg is out in front, you can use the opposite arm, put that straight up in the air. You're gonna rotate at 45 degrees towards your leg that's forward. So my right leg's forward, my left arm is up. I'm gonna rotate 45 degrees towards my front leg here, my right leg, and then I'm gonna curl over like a ballerina and do a kind of like a C stretch, like a ballerina would. This does, this allows you to get extra leverage here. You get a little bit of stretching of the obliques. Sometimes a little bit of lat gets involved. It goes down all this area right there. I just flashed you guys a little bit. Woo. Man, I am white. Look at that. Woo. I got a tan on my stomach. So same thing here. Setting that knee over the ankle. And then rather than leaning into your knee, you're just pushing down on your hips. And then tucking the pelvis, just like that. You can think of how you tuck your pelvis for a deadlift. Not arching the back though. And the same thing here, my left leg's forward, so my right arm comes up. Rotate at 45 degrees towards my left leg, and then I curl over. Okay, next up. Sorry, I got a text there. Next up, we're gonna go ahead and stretch the upper body out. So before we go that, we can actually get the lower back stretched out by doing a reach right here. Just reaching up as high as possible, reaching for the sky, doing the Woody thing to a story. It's a nice stretch to decompress the spine. You can also hang too. If you have like something to hang on, you can hop up there and hang. Next up, I'm going to go for a pec minor stretch. So putting your arm at 90 degrees on a surface, like so. And then I like to do a split stance, and we just lean into the split stance like that. If you want even more leverage, you can kind of lean away from it, like 45 degrees away from it. This gets that connection between the chest and the shoulder. Nice stretch there. If you got rounded shoulders or if your neck's really tight, this stretch right here will help a bunch. And then we do the other side. Okay, last but not least, we're going to do various neck stretches. So we're going to start out by going to the side here with the neck, like so. And you could put a little bit more pressure on the back of the head if you need to pull down, but I find for me and a lot of people, you don't need that extra tension. As long as you're just leaning the head to the side, this is enough. And if you do decide to put more tension by like pulling the head down, be very careful because you can very easily like strain your neck by pulling too hard. And as I mentioned earlier, deep breath in, deep breath out, and then visualizations really help. If you close your eyes, imagine a really calming or relaxing area, space, experience. One thing I commonly do with my eyes closed when I breathe deep in and out during static stretch is I imagine either like a meadow, like somewhere like Yosemite, just like a cabin in the middle of a meadow. It's like kind of like fall, or no, like maybe like springtime. It's kind of warm outside. And then another one that I have is like at the beach, where you just like a cool breeze. It's a nice warm day. It's not too hot. Light breeze on your skin. You know, hear some birds chirping and stuff like that. And just doing those things, the breathing and those visualizations during static stretch, man, it does a whole nother level as far as releasing tension from your body. I mean, just doing the mindset stuff in and of itself, the breathing and the visualization will release tension in your body, but then when you add like a physical component like static stretching, it does like a nice combo of tension release. And I've legitimately fallen asleep during a cool down because I was so calm and so relaxed. So now we're going to look over the shoulder and looking down at 45 degrees here. And just kind of letting the head fall down, keeping a neutral spine as we do this, all the neck stretches, and really every stretch. And again, you can put the hand on the back of the head if you need it. For me, and a lot of people, I find we don't really need to do that. And coming up, looking 45 degrees over, looking down in the pocket. Okay, last one I'll do, so we're going to look up at 45 degrees, and you're going to try to bring the back of your head down to your opposite shoulder. So if I'm looking up at my left, 45 degrees, bring my head, try to push it down on my right shoulder like that. Slowly come out of that, and then looking up 45 degrees, pushing my head down a little bit. And that is it. That's a cool down stretch. Why the hell do you want to do a cool down stretch? I know you guys are burning to ask that question. So, the reason why you want a static stretch after a workout is, one, you release tension from your body. Two, your body needs to know you kind of have to warm it up and cool it down before and after activity. And I know that made no sense, but you have all this blood flow. It's called venous pools of blood. It's like flowing around your body, right? Your heart's working really hard. So you need to basically tell your body, hey, we're no longer going to be doing resistance training or really intense base activity. And one way you do that is through breathing and also static stretching. So it allows your body to prime itself, if you will. That's why you warm up. You do things, get loose, warm up the joints, get the blood flow going. And then for the cool down, we do the opposite. We tell the body, hey, it's time to relax, it's time to cool down, release the tension from the body, stop all the blood flow, the heart doesn't have to work as hard. And that's the reason why you want to do a static stretch. You'd be amazed at what static stretching does post-workout. For recovery purposes, you won't be nearly as tight, and in some cases maybe not as sore if all your other recovery protocols are in place. So highly suggest post-exercise doing some cool down where you static stretch. Also, before you go to bed at night, every night I static stretch for about 5 or 10 minutes or so, holding a little bit longer in areas that tend to be tighter. And that just really primes your body for just relaxation and a great night's sleep. And then likewise in the morning, I'll do a warm-up. Same exact warm-up I do before exercise. It's just active arm, leg swings, stuff like that. So one of these streams, I'll actually go through my full warm-up with you guys, and we'll get the full cool down as well with the workout in there. And you guys can see basically what every single workout that I do looks like. That being said, guys, I hope you guys are enjoying the streams. Keep on the lookout today. I'll probably do a gaming stream later in the afternoon or evening. In between the games, I tend to play guitar. I'm working on it. I used to be much better at playing guitar and singing, but I'm getting back to it. It's a really big passion of mine, and I used to play like lead guitar in a bunch of bands and stuff, so just rediscovering that passion, and I love it. It's a nice release, good stress reliever for me, and it's a great creative outlet, expression for me, as well as like gaming and stuff. So be on the lookout for that later today.
Feel free to give me any feedback. I would love any comments, DMs, any feedback. If my shit sucks, let me know. Or if there's any way I can improve it, let me know. Other than that, be on the lookout for a poll I'm going to release today on different workout styles you guys want me to cover. And with that, we'll go in the history, the background of those styles, and I'll also demonstrate it for you guys. So I hope you guys are having a great week, and